Hello beautiful people, Shane here. Today we're going to do a video that I posted a short about a comparison between the Spyderco Shaman and the Spyderco MANIX2. This is not a knife review, nor is it, or either one of these knives worth the money, because they both absolutely are. It's just if I had to do it all over again and was only going to buy one of these, which one would I buy? Well, let's go over what we've got with each of these. This is my Spyderco Shaman. It did not come with my micarta scales. I bought aftermarket micarta scales for it. However, it did come with a coated M4 blade. I love M4 blade steel. I live in Alabama. I do have some corrosion issues with M4 here. I have to stay on top of it. Apparently the protectant I've been using, which is mineral oil, just doesn't work. Big Red EDC just posted a video doing some knife protectant research, so now I know what to buy to solve that issue. And also my Spyderco MANIX2. I can't remember which exclusive this was in the red G10 with the 20 CV, because be honest, I didn't buy it new. I got it in a trade. Quick story about this knife. I actually had this for a few months and traded it off. Just never fell in love with it, and got the chance to trade it back, and I got it back, and now I'm in love with it. I don't know what the difference was in time, but I missed it the whole time it was gone, even though I didn't carry it much. I know that don't make sense, but I wanted it back. So I got it back, and I'm extremely happy about that. There's not actually a whole lot of differences in these knives, guys. If you look, the handle area here is nearly identical. I mean, it's so close. Yeah, I mean, it's almost exactly the same. You get a tad more blade with the Shaman. The difference in the blade shape, where everybody says they're all the same, they are not. The Shaman tip is upswept a tad bit more than the MANIX. So the MANIX tip is more in line with the bottom flat of the knife, where the Shaman rises just a little, but not much. Action wise, they're both excellent. They pretty much the same. One noticeable difference in the Shaman and the MANIX is the Shaman backside here is one continuous sweep, whereas the MANIX does have a little bit of thumb ramp and some pretty good jimping here. Does that relate to it being a better work knife? I don't know, guys. I'm not even really sure about jimping and how much it helps. I know if you have on a good pair of work gloves, jimping definitely helps. If you don't, the jimping can create a hot spot. So I'm not sure about that. So as far as blade steel goes, both these knives have great blade steels. One just happens to be corrosion resistant and one doesn't. This being Spyderco's 20 CV, it holds an edge an incredibly long time. If you've only experienced Chinese-made 20 CV, you haven't experienced 20 CV, I promise you. One of the other big differences between these knives is with the factory scales, the Shaman does have a contoured handle. It's a little more rounded. These are a little more flat, but the factory scales are usually a little more rounded, whereas the MANIX is just a flat slab knife. Also, as you can see, the Shaman, the scales are hidden, whereas on the MANIX they're not. It's just a flat scale. That's probably the biggest difference between these two knives. Now, if I had to pick which one of these knives I was going to buy, I'm going to cheat and say it this way. If I had the money that this knife costs, so if I buy this knife and these scales, end up with a little over $300 in it, I wouldn't buy the Shaman. The Shaman is my favorite of these two. However, if I had the money, I could take that money and I could buy two MANIX XLs in two different blade scale colors and two different blade steels. So that's the only reason, and I mean the only reason, why I think the MANIX2 is the better buy. The Shaman actually a lot of times sells on the secondary for more than it sells new, so you can look at it that way. It has a better resale, no doubt about that. These don't have a great resale. I've actually seen some MANIX2s in S110V on the secondary for as little as $80. So you're talking about four. There'd be four MANIX2s. Granted that in the lightweight variation. but 4 MANIX2s for the price of the Shaman. So what this really comes down to is this knife really worth that much more money than this knife? I don't believe it is. No, actually, I know it's not. This knife comes with a lot more height than this knife does. So if you're into that, you know, there's always that aspect. But as far as cutting tools go, they're both great cutting tools. They both have excellent heat treats. They both have good blade geometry. They both have good ergonomics. They both have good safe locks, albeit the locks are completely different. The Shaman comes with the compression lock, which I've installed a CME from OCD for EDC. I believe that's an absolute necessity on a compression lock. And the MANIX2 comes with the ball cage lock. This lock can be upgraded as well. From the factory, it's not exactly the smoothest lock. By that I mean it just feels a little gritty or grimy to me, and I'm sure it's just because it's plastic and it's under spring pressure. However, you can upgrade that. Those parts are also available at OCD for EDC. So yeah, I mean, that kind of finalizes my test. I like this knife better, but I would purchase this knife. If I didn't care about height and I didn't care about people oohing and ahhing over it, I just needed a good cutting tool, I would take the 3 or 4 of these that I could buy for the money that this cost. Special shout out, I got this video idea from Mr. Bob DeMarco at the Knife Junkie. That's why I did this comparison. So I want to thank him. I also want to thank you guys, because you guys know I'm extremely appreciative of any amount of time y'all spend with me. Peace. Love y'all.